G'day there guys, exceptional at nothing but being painfully average here. Back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love this video, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy the bloody good content. Posted by user MajorNecessary5211, titled, Am I the a-hole for calling a customer's daughter fudging ugly? This happened pre-COVID, but it caused a big divide in my family. Now, I'm a tattoo artist. Not famous or anything, but I own my own shop and am pretty well known within my city's tattoo scene. I also have a very particular art style and very rarely divert from this style. Why fix what isn't broken? This style does not include portraits, and I've not done a portrait tattoo in years upon years. So, my cousin had been throwing in not so subtle hints every single time I'd seen him since he became a father 3 years ago. My cousin and I aren't particularly close. After 3 years, he just straight up asked if I could give him a tattoo of his daughter. I, not being a portrait artist and taking my art very seriously, said no. I did give him recommendations for the best artists in the city who do portraits, and could probably give him a discount if they knew he was my cousin. He did not give up. In retrospect, I know I should have stood my ground, but he would switch between being super flattering and telling me how good my art is to passive-aggressively complaining about my refusal until I gave in. He did agree to pay, albeit much less than I would charge my regular customers. Anyways, I gave him the portrait, and it turned out just how I expected. I mean, it's not the worst tattoo anyone's ever seen, but it's not great. I did try my best, but again, not my style. My cousin lost his crap, telling me I'm the worst artist he's ever met, refusing to pay, and telling me that I made his daughter look ugly. After being practically bullied into wasting my time tattooing someone with no respect for me or my art for a heavy discount, then being treated like crap for giving them what they wanted, I was pretty done. I said, well, maybe your daughter is fudging ugly, and then slammed the door and locked him out of the shop. Most of my family now thinks I'm an a-hole for bringing an innocent child into this, etc. I don't think it matters because that's not really the point, and it's not like I said it to her face. My co-workers and friends are on my side. Am I the a-hole? Edits, just wanted to clarify some things. Some have asked me why I didn't sketch it out before tattooing him. I did. Sketches on paper look somewhat different than on skin, and I told him this, but he insisted that it was fine. Also, tracing portraits on the skin beforehand doesn't give a great idea of how the finished tattoo will look, as another Redditor has pointed out. That picture is an example from the internet, not my tat. I gave my cousin many opportunities to back out. This just seems like a standard family, disputes, choosing beggar kind of situation. Your comment was out of line, although I don't blame you for doing that. Without that comment you made, you wouldn't have been the a-hole, but I can understand you want to let out your frustration after they've been pushing you so much, so I kind of want to say you're not the a-hole, but that pushes it into everyone sucks here territory. You should have put your foot down about not doing the tattoo, and it's really disgusting of you to use insults about his child. You are severely unprofessional, and I don't care that it's your family. A member of your family hired you in a professional capacity, and you did not act like a professional. And that includes sticking to outright refusing to do a piece of artwork you weren't comfortable doing for a discount you didn't want to give. And of course, your cousin sucks because they pulled the idiot card in tattooing, and think that if they have a family in the business, they can request whatever the hell they want for whatever price they want regardless of your art style. Okay, but if they weren't family, they wouldn't be able to have basically harassed them, gotten a discount, and then gone to family members to complain. Nothing about this situation is professional, but I do agree it shouldn't have happened. Bold claim that someone who isn't family wouldn't be able to harass them. It's really common where I work for the staff to get harassed by customers outside of work. Everyone sucks here, though my focus isn't even on the ugly comment. I get he kept bothering you and he was a total a-hole, but you absolutely know as a tattoo artist, you never put ink on someone's body you know you wouldn't be proud of. Immeasurably more so when it's portraiture of their loved one. Agreed. No tattoo artist I ever met would do a tattoo that they knew was not their best quality. Though the cousin sucks for being a price about the tattoo, everyone sucks here. Posted by user MassiveMoney8899, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter she is going to make a crap nurse? Now, I have a 15-year-old daughter who has wanted to be a nurse for about 2 years. That's great. I'm glad that she has a sense of direction. She's also interested in politics and social justice, and was in a club at her school that focused on women's issues. The wife recently got her breasts redone, so obviously she's in a lot of pain. The only thing I asked of the children is to leave her alone and let her recover. Well, the 15-year-old can't manage this. She wrote a research paper last year for school about the plastic surgery industry and the negative effects it has on women. She brought this up to her mother before the surgery, but my wife just laughed it off. Well, now she wants to debate the dangers of cosmetic surgery and the detriments to society, while my wife is in a lot of pain and is asked to be left alone. I left them alone for like 10 minutes so I could get my wife some food, and I came upstairs to them fighting again. My daughter will not drop it, and all she is doing is making her mother even more miserable. So I told her if that's how she treats someone recovering from surgery, she is going to be a crap nurse. Now she's crying and saying I don't respect her dreams. So am I the a-hole? Yeah, unfortunately you are if you crap on your daughter like that. She's 15, and I understand she's doing a lot wrong to the mother herself, so she's an a-hole also. You don't just pester someone who's been post-surgery. As an up-and-coming nurse in her own head, she should know just how bad surgery is and how much it takes a toll on one's body. So both her and the husband are a-holes in this situation for causing so much conflict, which is just completely unnecessary. Everyone sucks here. Your daughter should leave her alone while she's recovering, but you shouldn't attack your kids' dreams because they're obnoxious. Teenagers don't listen to anything worth a damn 65% of the time. That doesn't mean you tell them that they'll be crap at their chosen profession. You could have simply asked her, so you feel called to nursing. Would a nurse treat a patient this way? Telling her she'll be crap is too far. And he should probably explain to her once everyone calms down that as a feminist, she needs to respect other women's bodily autonomy even if she doesn't agree with their choice. You treat others how you want to be treated, nurse or not. She has to find that out the hard way. Also, as a nurse, she has an ethical and legal obligation to treat all patients to the best of her ability, regardless of whether or not she agrees with their life choices, provided those life choices are legal. Even if they aren't legal, we take care of criminals, prisoners, addicts, and abusers, and must ethically do so to the best of our ability. Everyone sucks here. The problem is that she's 15, and to some degree we expect 15-year-olds to suck sometimes. You snapped at her in anger instead of teaching her how not to suck. Hopefully you'll take the time to apologize and have a discussion about how being a true women's rights champion means accepting another woman's choice even if you don't agree with it. And being a nurse means caring for and empathizing with someone you don't agree with and even may not like. Yeah. Teens and college students tend to see issues as black and white, but when you grow up, you learn life is complicated, and people are mostly doing the best they can. Posted by user LKRS956, titled, Am I the a-hole for having my ex's university admission rescinded? I, 18 female, dated my ex, 18 male, from sophomore to the end of junior year of high school. We broke up amicably and both moved on. He dated more girls during the summer, while I remained single. We were still around each other a lot because our circle of friends had blended and our younger sisters were best friends. At the beginning of senior year, I still texted him from time to time because we shared a government class and sometimes compared notes. But overall, we weren't that close. Towards December, things with his girlfriend got rough, and he began to lean on me like an emotional crutch, often asking me if I could come over so he could vent to me in person. Once, he asked me to go out to get dinner with him, and I declined because I wanted to respect his girlfriend and because I was not his friend. He then decided it was a good time to tell me that he still loved me and wanted to get back together because he could see himself marrying me and having kids one day. I was extremely creeped out because I was, and still am, a teenager who wasn't even thinking about those things. I told him that I didn't feel the same, and he did a complete 180. He called me a prude that was full of herself, and said that I should be careful because no one would want a girl with brains, and that he was my best option for a future. No. I ended up blocking him so I could spend the holidays in peace. I thought that everything would go back to normal, but once I returned to school, everything blew up. I noticed everyone was giving me odd looks, and was so confused until my friends pulled me aside and told me that my ex had decided to expose the truth behind our breakup. Basically, he told anyone who would listen that I was cheating and sleeping with others, and almost gave him an STD. To make things worse, he claimed that I had taken videos of it and shared it with him, which is, needless to say, a federal crime. I was ticked. 1, I had never slept with anyone. He was the one trying to pressure me into that. 2, I come from a Catholic family who would disown me if they even heard a rumor that I was having premarital relations. And 3, I was being accused of a federal crime. I went straight to the dean and told him everything. We attended a private school that didn't take such things lightly, and I was assured that swift action would be taken. I left it at that, trusting that the school would do what they felt was right. 3 months later, and I come to find out his admission to a top university, along with his full-ride scholarship for football, had been rescinded. I was shocked when I was called to the dean's office and given a formal apology from my ex and his parents. At the time it felt right, but now I feel like the punishment may have been too harsh, even if what he accused me of could have put me in jail. Am I the a-hole? I don't think you're the a-hole for that, no. As the dead horse is beaten into the ground here, actions have consequences, and he chose a really stupid action, so, you were just defending yourself, and I can't blame you for defending your reputation and yourself from your own family, dear Lord. I would say that's a very fair punishment for him. He needs to start over and try again. Edits. Wow, hey y'all. I wasn't expecting this to get so many comments. It popped up on my Instagram Explore page this morning and I was like, whoa. Anyways, I'd like to thank y'all for the feedback. There seem to be some common questions and concerns, so I decided to answer the ones I've seen the most. How did a football player lose his scholarship over hurt feelings? I'm still really not sure how it reached the university, but it wasn't just hurt feelings. I don't think any good college would want someone who throws false accusations around. Also, he's not even that good at football. Why was your school so serious about it? I commented a few times, but the school faced a lawsuit a few years ago before my time because they didn't believe a girl who had almost been assaulted on campus. They got sued for emotional duress and criminal negligence, I think, and I don't believe they wanted a possible repeat. You ruined his life over a rumor? His life is definitely not ruined. My sister found out from his sister that he will be attending the top in-state school and he still has a girlfriend. He'll be fine. Why did you continue to text him? I never initiated the conversations. We both took a government class that was mostly underclassmen, so he would reach out to me if he needed help. And I helped him because at that time, he had not been aggressive towards me. I hope this answered some of your questions, y'all. I'll still answer more if I come across them. Thank you for both the kind words and honest opinions. Not the a-hole. I would even say that the punishment wasn't harsh enough. He deserved it for being so nasty. What he did was defamation, an attack on your character. If it happened to me, I would have gathered evidence from people he told these baseless rumors to, texts, chats, etc., tell my parents, and sue his damn ass for defamation. It's okay to let them apologize, but stand your ground. Do not let them manipulate you. He pretty much ruined himself by trying to ruin you over a rejection. What an ass. And aside from the formal apology, did he tell the people he vented out to that he lied to them and purposefully made things up about you? And if the next thing he does is create another issue that you got his scholarship rescinded and paint you as the bad guy, that formal apology is of no use. He didn't mean it, and it was just for formality. You're not the a-hole, and it wasn't your fault his scholarship got rescinded. OP says he had to recant to each person and was moved out of the class we shared and moved to a different lunch block. I think he tried to contact my own college about the situation because I have a sports plus academic scholarship, but he was shot down. I made it clear that if he ever were to approach me again, I would file a restraining order. So twice he has shown you how vindictive he is. You did not decide what the consequences of his actions were. Do not feel guilty, not the a-hole. You didn't plan for his scholarship to be rescinded, you simply went to the proper authorities to make certain his lies didn't impact your own life. He's the one who chose to spread all those lies about you in the first place. 100% this. His future university would have seen major red flags with his behavior and realized they may have potential lawsuits and bad press in the coming years. He did all this himself. You only reported what he did to you. The school took it to what level of punishment they felt fit. It's also worth considering that depending on timing, someone would simply have taken his spot at the school. OP's actions probably benefited them immensely, not the a-hole. Posted by user LampDoga, titled, "Would I be the a-hole for not sharing my garden with a lazy friend who wants to give the bounty to her church?" So, I, 38 female, had COVID in March. On a ventilator, in the hospital, permanent lung damage, the whole thing. A friend's sister, 39 female, begged to use some of my garden space to plant a garden. I have a large farm. I made it clear that I wouldn't be able to tend to her gardens as I'm still recovering and get winded and tired easily, and the humidity is really hard on me. All good. She promised to take care of it and plant a few things for me for letting her use this space. A good deal as I love gardening and fresh produce, and didn't think I would be able to do it myself this year. I paid someone to come till the space. It is a very large space. Personally, I plant things in rows far enough apart to be able to take my tiller between the rows to get most of the weeds. Early in the morning, I would plant a few things at a time for myself. She would drop stuff off at my house that she wanted planted, but would never actually do it, citing that she was too tired. Look, she doesn't work and has 2 children with the elder who's 14 and a male that lives with her. The only days she helped, she planted about 4 of the 45 pepper plants she had bought, and then said she was too tired to even finish. I finished the peppers for her and planted some onions her sister, who's my friend, had given me. These I will give her if they live. I don't need 40 different kinds of peppers and that many onions. I've been trying to get her to help pull weeds, water, make fence, and generally help me take care of this garden. She always says she will, but never has. I told her that her peppers were going to be lost to weeds soon. She dropped off a super small tiller at my house while I was asleep and told me that shouldn't make me as tired as my larger one. I was baffled by that. She informed her sister, my friend, on how she plans on giving and selling my full garden harvest to people at her Mormon church. I am livid. Some days I seriously almost called 911 because I was barely able to breathe after only working a few minutes. I planned to freeze and can the majority of my garden to keep my grocery bill down. I told her I would give her the onions and peppers, but everything else is mine. She did no work and did not put any money into my garden. Her other sister, 49 female, is telling me I am being unreasonable and her church friends think I am as well. They all think that because she plans on giving and selling this to her church, that I should let her. I'm not the religious type, so that type of rationale does not work on me. I do volunteer at a food pantry and planned on taking some there. They also think I'm awful for taking away from a single mother. I know her oldest sister knows the full picture and not just her side, and she still thinks I'm being awful. So, am I the a-hole? Edits: I am single with no children and live alone, so I do not have help, apart from my Labrador and cat that chase off rabbits. This is my friend's sister, not my friend. My friend is kind enough to invite me to her family gatherings at her house since I do not have any family living. She did bring several more seeds and plants to plant herself. She never did, obviously, and I did not plant most of them, and stated I would not, both before and after she purchased them, so they died or didn't get used. She spent a lot of money on these apparently. For example, she spent $50 on different kinds of pumpkin seeds. I told her pumpkins take a lot of space and she would need to tile a bunch of space in one of my fields to grow them. Her sister and church friends now think I should reimburse her for the money she spent, on top of giving her everything in the garden. Sorry, I should have said I believe she wants to give and sell to members of her church, not the church directly. I think since all of the farmers markets have been cancelled due to COVID, her church is putting a makeshift one together for members. I have nothing against single mothers or low-income people. I only added that as she just seems to sit at home all day. She does have depression, as do I, so I can get that can be a factor. OP, you're not the a-hole. This woman is insane in the membrane. Something needs to be done about this woman's craziness and laziness, and her taking your entire harvest is just insanity to me. Absolutely not the a-hole. I would just put whatever she's dumped on your property out on the road and say, there you go, you can have it back. See you later. Not the a-hole. And if it were me, I'd make a public post talking about all the work I put in, so people couldn't shame me for taking what I rightfully grew myself. Also, why is she thinking of selling this to a church? She has no moral high ground here at all. This is literally the little red hen kid story in real life. Everyone knows who the a-hole was, and this is no different, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. She should not be profiting from the work that you did. Literally, you reap what you sow. If she wanted a bountiful garden, she should have planted and cultivated it. Not the a-hole. Giving her the peppers and onions that she brought over is more than fair, especially since you did the actual work of growing them. OP also might want to keep a close eye on the garden when everything begins to ripen, cause you just know that a-hole will come right out and take it all. This is the comment I was looking for. Glad I found it. Completely agree. OP really needs to keep an eye on it, cause I would bet the tax-free status on the churches that someone will pop round, not only taking advantage of your current health, but also just to steal what they mentally believe is theirs, not OP's. If OP can put up with the loss, I would honestly tarnish the whole crop to prevent any theft as well, as it obviously is being conveniently done by local wildlife, which OP had no control over. Screw those a-holes, not the a-hole, no questions asked. Posted by user DesignerAd9274, titled, Am I the a-hole for not including my trans sister in my wedding party? So this happened last year. I got engaged back in 2018 and chose my wedding party. 3 of my closest friends, and my fiancé chose his brother and 2 of his friends. Growing up, I was not close to my younger sister, then brother. There wasn't any bad blood or anything, we just don't have a lot in common and barely speak. About 2 months before my wedding, my sister came out as a trans woman. I was happy for her that she's finally living her true life. Shortly after, she approached me and asked to be one of the bridesmaids, saying that it would basically be a sort of a milestone for her in her new life as a woman. I told her no because we already had everything planned out and the wedding was just a few weeks away. I told her I fully supported her if she wanted to wear a dress to the wedding, but it would be too hard to include her at the last minute. She said she understood and didn't bring it up again. She ended up not attending the wedding despite RSVPing yes. My parents and I tried to reach out several times over the last year to see if she was okay, but she kept telling us she was fine and that she needed to be alone. We finally talked recently, and she told me she boycotted my wedding because she knew the reason that I didn't want her as a bridesmaid was that she looked very masculine still. That isn't true at all. She insists that if I didn't find the way she looked objectionable, I would have included her. So, am I the a-hole? Personally, I don't think you're the a-hole here. Your sister is throwing wild accusations at you. It was obvious that you'd already planned your bridal party beforehand, and they've come and asked to be a part of it and you said no. You gave a perfectly valid reason and they extrapolated from that they were too masculine. I don't understand that. So, no, you're not the a-hole for this one. Edit. Hope this is allowed. The post got locked. Just wanted to address some of the comments. So my sister was not asked to be a groomsman before she transitioned because she only met my husband once and declined when he asked her to hang out. She and I are not close due to an age difference, and we are very different people. If we were not related, I doubt we'd be friends. She's very outgoing and extroverted, while I'm the opposite. It never crossed my mind that she would even want to be a part of the wedding party. I'm definitely going to ask her to do some girly things with me. Someone suggested a cute photo shoot. I was thinking it would be a nice present for my mum. Thanks for the comments and advice. Not the a-hole. Since when do people ask to be in a bridal party? Seems a bit rude. It seems to be a thing now. Like certain folks are entitled to be in a bridal party because of their position. It's annoying and expensive. The bridal party is about supporting the vows, not wearing a dress. It was a play for attention. She wanted to repurpose OP's wedding as her transitioning milestone and boycotted the wedding when OP refused to step out of the spotlight for her. I think it's an example of there not being enough prejudice to go around, so some people manufacture it to suit their cause. OP couldn't accommodate an extra bridesmaid at the last minute, so obviously she's a bigot discriminating against her sister for not being passing. Boycott! Honestly, OP is better off without the drama that's coming. If this is how they act with people that love and accept her, there's going to be a wild ride ahead with other people that aren't quite so nice, or even indifferent. I think that's a bit cynical for the information that we have. I agree that OP has done nothing wrong, of course, but in regards to the sister, I interpreted that as her being deeply insecure and that causing her to see OP's choice as a rejection, rather than the entirely reasonable situation that we can see. Again, not saying OP is responsible for any of this, I just think it wouldn't hurt to give the sister the benefit of the doubt that she's coming from a vulnerable and insecure place. I mean, you may be right, but I think that's a big judgment call on limited information. I mean, if OP is to be believed, the sibling literally said it would be a milestone for them in their new life as a woman. Sounds kinda like they wanted the memory to be about them and not the wedding. Not the a-hole. People will always make someone else's wedding about themselves. She should have spoken more with you about it instead of boycotting your wedding altogether. The thing is, you don't ask to be a part of the bridal party. You are asked by the bride. And that close to the wedding, it would be hard to add an extra person in, and if OP paid for the dresses, that's another expense they didn't budget for. Plus the hair and makeup cost, and the cost of the bachelorette party. It's also so weird she boycotted it and took it as OP being transphobic when they weren't even close, and therefore she wouldn't have been asked anyway. I completely agree. It would be one thing if the sister was upset because she had previously been included as a groomsman or something and was de facto removed from the wedding party when she transitioned. But if they weren't close enough for the sister to be included before, why would she be entitled to a spot in the wedding party after, especially at the last minute? G'day there guys, exceptional at nothing but being painfully average here. Back at it again with another episode of r/Am I the A-hole? Now if you love this video, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy the bloody good content.